Hey there, lovely soul. Welcome back to Noah's Stories. Have you ever done something kind for someone not knowing it would change your entire life? Today's story begins with a girl, a broken dog, and a decision made from pure heart. Stay with us. This one's going to touch your soul. Winter afternoon wrapped San Francisco in a biting breeze, sneaking through every crack and corner of the city. On a busy intersection sidewalk, Mia Walker sat huddled on a piece of flattened cardboard, a few faded handmade bracelets laid carefully before her. Small, quiet, almost invisible amid the rushing feet. She didn't expect kindness, just enough sales to afford dinner. Then, just as the traffic light turned red, a sharp screech sliced through the air, followed by a harsh thud and a cry, thin, broken, and full of pain. Mia jumped to her feet. There in the middle of the road lay a small dog, trembling, tiny body curled into itself, one hind leg twisted unnaturally. Without pause, she dashed into the street, dropped to her knees beside him. "Hey, it's okay, I'm here now." Her voice trembled as she pulled him close, holding him like he was the last thing keeping her heart beating. People stopped. Murmurs spread, but no one moved. No one helped. Just Mia, with nothing left to lose, clutching a fragile life and running. The nearest vet clinic was a few blocks away. She burst through the door, panting, "Please, he needs help." The vet examined quickly and sighed. "Fractured leg, needs immediate splinting. That'll be $120, 0 cents. Mia dug into her backpack, pulling out a misshapen little box held together with duct tape, the place where she kept every dollar she had scraped together for months. This is all I have," her voice cracked. The receptionist counted, then looked up, stunned. "It's exact, to the cent." As the dog was taken inside, Mia collapsed into a cold plastic chair. She didn't know whose pet he was. All she knew was, today, she had done something right. The little dog was taken inside for treatment. Mia remained seated on the hard plastic chair, her hands trembling slightly in her lap. She glanced down at her worn-out shoes, heart-heavy but strangely lighter than it had been in weeks. Her stomach ached and her pockets were empty, yet warmth lingered inside her chest. When the vet returned, his expression was gentle. Buddy was wrapped in soft bandages, a cone around his neck. He still trembled, but he was breathing steadily now, eyes closed in exhausted peace. "He'll be okay," the vet said. "He just needs some rest." Mia knelt beside him, brushing her fingers over his damp nose. That's when she saw it. The small, shiny metal tag dangling from his collar. Buddy, 1675, Westbrook Lane. Her heart paused. She knew that street, a place where people like her didn't belong, but something in her whispered, "Take him home. He deserves to go back." By the time she reached the mansion, the sky was already a deep blue. The front gates were tall, wrapped in ivy, and warm garden lights lit up the white stone walls. She stood there with her fraying backpack and dusty jeans, Buddy asleep in her arms. Two quiet souls at the edge of another world. She pressed the intercom. A robotic voice echoed, "How can I help you?" "Hi, I found a dog named Buddy. He was in an accident. This address was on his tag." A few minutes passed. Then, the gate opened slowly. A staff member met her and led her across the stone path, through an immaculate hallway and to a tall wooden door. When it opened, she saw him for the first time. Ethan Hayes. Tall, dark shirt, defined features, eyes sharp and weary. Everything about him seemed structured, guarded, until he saw Buddy. "Oh my God," his voice cracked. "Buddy." He stepped forward. Buddy opened his eyes and let out a soft whimper. Despite the cast, his tail wagged the moment he recognized him. Ethan bent down, gently cradling his dog. Then he turned to Mia, eyes filled with stunned gratitude. "You saved him?" Mia nodded. "I just couldn't leave him alone out there." "You even took him to a vet?" he asked quietly. "Yes, I used all the money I had." Ethan fell silent. After a moment, he pulled an envelope from the drawer. "Here, to cover what you spent, and a bit more." Mia shook her head. "I don't want money. I just needed to know he was safe." He looked at her. Longer than necessary. Where do you live? By the old bus station, under the overpass. She said it plainly, as if it wasn't something to hide. There was a pause. Then his voice softened. There's a small room in the back of the house. Has a lock, a bed, and enough space for Buddy. You can stay if you'd like. Mia never imagined she'd one day step inside a house like this. After accepting Ethan's offer, she was led through a side path to the back of the mansion, where a small, modest room awaited her. It had a clean bed, a private bathroom, and a little window overlooking the garden touched by autumn. That first night, she lay on a mattress soft as clouds, but couldn't sleep. Everything was too quiet, too unfamiliar. It wasn't until she heard Buddy's steady breathing curled up at the foot of the bed that she finally exhaled, her heart resting for the first time in months. At dawn, with mist still lingering, Mia was already up. She wasn't used to being allowed to do nothing. Quietly tying her hair with an old elastic band, she tiptoed into the vast kitchen. No one was there. She guessed the housekeeper hadn't arrived yet. With a touch of boldness, she opened a few cabinets and found coffee, bread, and a few eggs. She turned on the stove, poured water into the coffee maker, grabbed a pan. But just as she lit the burner, beep, 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 the fire alarm screamed. The ceiling sprayed white mist. Buddy barked furiously as if defending the entire mansion. Mia spun in confusion. I didn't even burn anything. Footsteps thundered down the hallway. Ethan appeared, hair wet, a towel wrapped at his waist. What are you doing? I was just making coffee. I didn't know your kitchen had a self-destruct mode. Ethan muttered something, hurried to the control panel, and entered a code. The alarm shut off. Silence fell, awkward, intense. They stared at each other. Then both laughed. I think I just woke the whole mansion, Mia murmured. Well, at least no one will miss coffee, Ethan replied, his eyes carrying a softness absent the night before. Moments later, Linda, the housekeeper, arrived, and Mia was immediately banned from the kitchen indefinitely. But she didn't mind. Over the next few days, she helped in smaller ways, tidying rooms, arranging Buddy's toys, cleaning his water bowl, though most of it ended up on her own foot. She started falling into rhythm with the house, and noticed, to her surprise, that Ethan seemed to be shifting too. Once, she saw him smile as Buddy chased his own shadow in the garden. Then he turned and looked at her. He didn't say a word, but he didn't need to. In that quiet gaze, Mia felt it, that somehow her presence was making this house feel more alive, more human, even just a little. The next morning, Ethan called her into his office. He looked serious, but there was something softer behind his eyes. I'd like to officially hire you, he said, for 2 weeks. Full-time care for Buddy. I'll cover food, housing, and a salary. You're free to come and go, just try not to set off the alarms again. Mia raised an eyebrow, trying not to laugh. Sounds like a contract with a no-fire clause. Exactly, Ethan replied, dryly, but a flicker of a smile tugged at his lips. She took the contract, scanned a few lines, most of which made little sense, then picked up the pen. It didn't work. She tapped it, blew on it, then muttered, as dry as you are. Ethan looked up. Excuse me? Nothing, she said, grinning, and signed. From that day, Mia became the temporary partner, but to her it was the first time in years someone trusted her with something real. That morning, the park shimmered gently under soft sunlight. Mia walked Buddy along the tree-lined paths, savoring a rare moment of quiet peace, until a voice called out behind her. Lily Prescott? Mia froze, her body stiffened. An older woman with silver hair, dark sunglasses, and a grocery bag stood staring at her, wide-eyed. I'm sorry, you've got the wrong person, Mia replied, avoiding her gaze. No, you're Lily. You're Laura Prescott's daughter. I'm Helen. I used to work in your kitchen. My God, after all these years, it's really you. That name, Laura, hit Mia like a blade between the ribs. Helen stepped closer, her voice trembling. I know what happened back then. I know you were innocent. It was him, your mother's new husband, who orchestrated everything. He used your name in fake documents. And your mother, she stayed silent. She chose him. Mia clenched Buddy's leash tightly as if it was the only thing keeping her from falling apart. I tried to speak out, but no one listened. He was too powerful. Mia whispered, her eyes red. Please. I don't want to hear more. She turned away quickly, her heart pounding like a drum of grief. That night, Ethan was reading when Mia appeared quietly at the door of his study. Do you have a minute? She asked, voice low. When they sat down, she spoke slowly, like peeling layers off old wounds. My mother is Laura Prescott. She remarried a powerful politician, Richard Hale. He ran a charity where I was listed as a co-signer. When the money laundering scandal broke, they blamed me. The media destroyed me. My friends vanished. My mother, she believed him. She looked at Ethan, eyes tired. I didn't just lose my name. I lost my mother. Ethan remained silent, eyes steady. I don't know who Lily Prescott was, he said gently. But I know Mia Walker, and Mia doesn't need anyone's approval because she's already survived hell and is still standing. For the first time, Mia didn't argue. She just nodded, lips trembling. There were tears in her eyes, yet for the first time, a flicker of light too. Ever since that night Mia opened up about her past, something had quietly shifted between her and Ethan. Not through confessions, but in the little things. He started making her coffee just the way she liked, creamy, barely bitter. She left small handwritten notes on his desk. They never spoke of feelings, but the way their eyes lingered when they met said more than enough. Linda, the housekeeper, noticed it first. He's not cold anymore, she muttered, and that girl, she brought life back into this house. But peace never lasted long. One rainy afternoon, Camille Effen's ex showed up unannounced. Her heels struck the marble like she still owned the place. She looked Mia up and down, lips curling. You always had a thing for saving lost causes, didn't you? Ethan stepped in, voice firm. Camille, you can't just barge in. Oh, forgive me. I just thought I'd drop by, meet your special guest, or should I take it to the press? The next morning, photos of Mia and Buddy in the garden flooded tabloids. Mystery woman living with billionaire CEO. Paparazzi lined the gate. The estate stayed locked down. He avoided Ethan. She felt like a storm he didn't ask for, a mistake. And then, without warning, Ethan stepped in front of a news camera. His voice was clear, calm. She's not just staying here. She's my girlfriend. Mia heard it from the living room. The words landed like a punch. When Ethan returned, she was waiting, fire in her eyes. What did you tell them? I wanted to protect you from their lies. By slapping a label on me I never agreed to, she snapped. You didn't ask. You didn't even give me a choice. Ethan stayed silent. Mia's voice trembled. I already lost my name once, Ethan. I won't let anyone, even you, define me again. She turned and walked away. Buddy followed quietly, and Ethan, left standing in the quiet house, felt something unfamiliar. Loneliness. Ever since Ethan had announced Mia as his girlfriend to the press, neither of them mentioned it again. No apologies, no explanations. But in that silence, something began to shift. They started having dinner together more often. Not fancy meals, instant noodles, cold pizza, and laughter that echoed through the living room. Every evening, Buddy wedged himself between them like a self-appointed referee. Mia would curl up on the sofa's armrest, and Ethan would quietly hand her the blanket he kept nearby. One evening, Mia walked past the library and saw Ethan asleep in the armchair, book slipped from his hand. She picked it up gently and covered him with the blanket. Before leaving, she watched him. Really watched him. There was something in this man, once cold, now quietly vulnerable, that tugged at her heart. That night, they watched an old movie together. During a quiet scene, Mia whispered, "If this is acting, I'm starting to forget how to pretend." Ethan didn't answer right away. He just looked at her, deep, unblinking, and said softly, "Then stop pretending." Silence. Mia bit her lip, about to turn away, but Ethan leaned in. No urgency, no pressure, just a kiss. Gentle, like it would disappear if they breathed too hard. But neither of them pulled back. Buddy gave a small bark of protest, like he'd been left out. They both laughed, tension broken. Mia leaned against Ethan's shoulder, No words, no labels needed. Later that night, Ethan left a letter on Mia's bedside table. Inside was an old photograph, him as a boy with his mother, and a note in his handwriting, "The first person who taught me love, before I learned to hide it." Mia held the photo to her chest. There was no contract requiring Ethan to share this, and maybe that's why it felt so real. That morning, when Ethan entered his study, he found a note neatly placed on the desk. "Don't worry, I'm not running. I just need to do something I should have done long ago." He understood instantly, and this time, he didn't try to stop her. Mia stood before a weathered blue door of a modest house. Helen, the woman who once stayed silent, opened it with trembling hands. "I ran last time," Mia said softly. "This time, I came to reclaim my voice." Helen handed her a thick envelope. Inside were documents, photos, and records, evidence long buried, fake signatures, money trails from the charity, all pointing back to the man she once called father. "This time we speak," Helen whispered. Ethan arrived minutes later. He didn't ask questions. He simply held Mia's hand as she placed the envelope in his. "I don't want to hide anymore," she said. "And you don't have to," he replied. "Because this time, I'm walking with you." That afternoon, Ethan held a press conference at his company headquarters. Camera flashes sparked. Ethan stepped up, holding the envelope. "I'm not here to address rumors or contracts. I'm here to speak the truth." He presented the evidence, and the narrative changed. Social media exploded, headlines shifted, people stopped calling Mia an opportunist and started seeing her as a survivor, a woman who dared to face her past and rise. Mia watched the live stream from a quiet corner, and for the first time she felt truly seen, not just watched. A few days after the press conference, when the noise began to fade and the world slowly shifted its gaze, Mia found herself breathing a little easier. Not because everything was perfect, but because for the first time in years, she wasn't running anymore. Her days became simple and slow, watering the plants in the early morning, walking Buddy through the garden paths, quietly making coffee, even if she still spilled a little and no one scolded her for it. One golden morning, Ethan called her out into the garden. Among blooming white flowers and sunlight that streamed like spilled honey, he stood waiting, not with fanfare, but with steady eyes and a heart no longer afraid to open. When he knelt down, velvet box in hand, his voice shook as much as his fingers. He didn't speak right away. He didn't need to, because Mia's eyes were already filling, her soul already answering. There is no contract now, no doubt, just love, unwritten, unspoken, but deeply true. A week later, the wedding took place in that same garden. No glamorous guests, no cameras, just Linda, Ben, a few close friends, and Buddy, in a tiny tuxedo, standing proudly like he knew exactly what was happening. Ethan held Mia's hands under the fading sunlight. He didn't say vows, his eyes did, and when Mia whispered, "I never believed I was worthy of love until you gave it to me, expecting nothing but my truth," the whole garden fell silent. Then tears followed. That night, after everyone had left, Mia sat by the old window, writing in her time-worn journal. Just one line, simple and quiet, but carrying everything that had happened. "I wasn't just saved, I was seen, and truly, deeply loved." If this story moved you, don't forget to hit that like button. It truly helps the channel grow. Subscribe for more heartwarming tales every week, and share this video with someone who believes in second chances. And hey, tell us in the comments, when was the last time kindness surprised you? We'd love to hear your story.